In the chaotic, brutal era of China's Warring States period, political survival meant mastering violence. According to ancient records, it was in this hostile environment that a strategist named Sun Tzu was summoned before King Hou of the Wu state to discuss his theories on managing soldiers. The king wanted a practical demonstration. He brought 180 of his palace concubines into the courtyard and challenged Sun Tzu to turn them into a disciplined military unit. Sun Tzu divided the women into two companies, placed the king's two absolute favorite concubines in charge, and gave the order to march. The women just burst out laughing. Stating that a general must enforce clear orders over any personal sentiment, Sun Tzu immediately had the two favorites beheaded right there in the courtyard. The remaining women, terrified, flawlessly executed every drill in total silence. It's a chilling story, and for centuries, this single anecdote cemented Sun Tzu's reputation globally as a ruthless, bloodthirsty warlord. The Western world struggled with a distorted image of Sun Tzu for centuries due to inaccurate translations. The 1905 Calthrop edition, for example, was riddled with omissions and willful distortions that mangled the original meaning of the text. To fix this, Lionel Giles, a sinologue, or expert in Chinese language and history, at the British Museum, published a new edition in 1910. He meticulously cross-referenced centuries of Chinese commentary to recover what the manual actually said. As Giles parsed the ancient characters, a massive cultural contradiction emerged. The standard literature of Chinese philosophy from this era was intensely opposed to militarism. War was seen as a tragic necessity and certainly not a path to glory. The world's most enduring military manual emerged from a culture that deeply mistrusted militarism. These 13 chapters prioritize the preservation of the state and the avoidance of conflict over the glory of the battlefield. Rather than romanticizing the battlefield, Sun Tzu viewed warfare as a massive, highly dangerous financial equation. Raising an army of 100,000 soldiers and outfitting 1,000 heavy chariots requires staggering expenditure. Factoring in provisions and armor, the cost hits 1,000 ounces of silver daily. This drains the state exchequer. Wealth plummets, prices spike, and the peasantry is stripped bare. Because prolonged warfare drains a state's lifeblood, Sun Tzu concludes that no country has ever benefited from a long campaign. The true objective of any commander is to resolve conflicts immediately to prevent total economic collapse. If outright battle is financially ruinous, the alternative is psychological. As the text explicitly states, all warfare is based on deception. This pyramid outlines Sun Tzu's hierarchy. The highest form is balking the enemy's plans. Next is isolating their forces. Third is attacking their unified army. At the absolute bottom is the worst policy, besieging walled cities, which eats up months of treasure. When delays stretch on, an irritated general might launch his men to the assault like swarming ants. A third are slaughtered. The city remains untaken. A master strategist avoids this entirely. By operating in the top tiers of deception and disruption, a general can break the enemy's resistance without fighting, capturing their country whole and intact. Because these concepts rely on avoidance, modern scholars sometimes debate if Sun Tzu even existed. His name famously does not appear in the Tso Chuan, the greatest historical record of that specific era. Yet the text itself holds the proof. The original 13 chapters use archaic, obsolete vocabulary and detailed armored chariot warfare that vanished before the Zhou dynasty ended. This places the manual in the early 5th century BC. After years of study, Lionel Giles concluded that these maxims were not concocted in a study by some literary recluse. They read like the distilled, practical experience of a veteran soldier, deeply acquainted with the harsh military conditions of the Wu state. Whether Sun Tzu was a single mastermind or a composite of battle-hardened commanders, the principles survive because they worked. They were forged in the fires of an intensely violent era, which makes the text's ultimate definition of victory so striking. Winning a pitched battle, where the whole empire praises your strength and shouts, "Well done," is not the acme of excellence. True excellence means putting yourself in a position where defeat is impossible. It is predicting the variables so perfectly and foiling the enemy's intentions so quietly that the hostile state submits without a single drop of blood being shed. A man remembered for beheading concubines lagged behind a text warning against the trap of combat. This foundational work on conflict is built entirely around the logic of securing stability and preserving human life.